everyone, my name is Julia Forrest, and today we're going to do an active practice for prenatal yoga that is suitable for all trimesters of pregnancy. I, of course, always invite you to listen to your body and to make any adjustments you need to make in order to find comfort, ease of breath, and fluid movement in your practice today. Take as many breaks as you need to, and of course, always tune into your own wisdom before listening to my suggestions. And so let's begin with a little bit of breath work. And before we do, I'd like to show you what I have available here today for practice. So I have 2 blocks, 1 bolster. If you don't have a bolster, don't worry, you can grab a cushion from your couch or your bed. I have a blanket and I have a strap for practice today. And so let's bring one hand to the heart, one hand to the navel. And beginning by connecting to ourselves. And this breath. Inhaling through the nose and guiding the breath down to that lower hand into the belly. Feel the belly expand. And as you exhale, release, gently hugging your baby with your breath. I'll do that a few times. Inhaling through the nose. And audible exhalation. And deep breath in through the nose. And a deep cleansing breath. Beautiful. And so as you follow the breath, breathing into the belly, guide the breath to the ribs, the sides, the front of the rib cage, maybe even the chest. Exhaling, softening from top to bottom, chest, rib cage, belly. Hands come together at the heart. And setting an intention for your practice today, what would you like to invite into your practice? And then bowing your head to honor yourself and releasing your hands. And so we're going to begin today's practice with a little bit of seated warm-ups. And so I invite you to take your shin. You're going to warm up the hips. So listening into your body and whatever movements you feel called to, you can incorporate those as well. And so making circles with your shin, and we call this rock the baby. You can rock your baby. And if you'd like to, you can hug your shin a little bit closer in towards your body, lengthening your spine and releasing, and change sides. And so let's rock the baby. If you'd like to, you can make circles with your shin and in an opposite direction. If it's comfortable and you'd like to hug your shin in, you can give yourself a little squeeze. And then releasing the leg down. So we're going to stack the shins. This is called stacking logs or fire logs, some people call it. If this knee is up a little bit, you can take your blanket and place it underneath your knee like this. And so making sure that your body feels comfortable as we explore these different movements. And then opening through the chest, inhale, find that lengthen through the front body. And then making lots of space for baby as we walk the hands forward, hinging from the hips. And so fingertips can come to the earth. If there's a little bit more space and you'd like to come deeper, you can bring your forearms to the earth. So always prioritizing space for breath, space for your baby. Long, deep breathing here. And then let's bring hands behind, opening through the chest. Roll your shoulders open. Deep breath in. And exhale to release, and changing the cross of your legs. And so stacking the shins so that they are in the same orientation as the front of your mat. Inhaling, opening through the chest, making lots of space for breath and baby as we hinge forward from the hips. Walk your fingertips forward. If you'd like to, you can come onto your forearms if there's space. So always bringing attention to the breath and not pushing too far. Just staying where you are, wherever it feels comfortable today. And then hands come behind you, opening through the chest. Deep breath in, roll your shoulders open, lift the heart, and exhale to release. Bring your feet to the floor. We'll do windshield wipers of the legs to release any tension that we have still there. And then coming onto your hands and knees. And so we'll come through our cat series, and if you'd like to have your blocks handy, you can place your blocks to the front edge of your mat. And so from the hands and knees, if your wrists are sore, feel free to come up onto your fists. This is a really nice option, or even down onto your forearms. And we'll begin with warming up the breath and spine with a few times cat-cow. And so press into your shins, inhaling, opening through the chest. Roll your shoulders back, lifting the tailbone. Feel the tilt of the pelvis. Exhaling through cat, deep breath out as we round the spine. So let's try that again. Deep inhalation. Opening through the front body, roll the shoulders back. And exhaling, rounding the spine. If you're feeling a lot of stretch in through the belly area and it's uncomfortable, you can inhale into our tabletop position and exhaling to dome the spine. And so always listening in and making any adjustments that feel right to you. And so let's inhale into our tabletop position, placing your hands maybe on your blocks if you're using blocks today, and step your right foot forward towards the front edge of your mat, making sure that the foot is beneath, the ankle is beneath your knee, and that you can maintain a nice long spine. And so with your next inhalation, inhale, raise your arms, reaching fingertips. And exhaling, palms come to the earth, and we can walk our fingers back and extend the right leg. So let's try that again. Inhaling, coming into our lunge position, reaching fingertips up. And as we exhale, palms come to the blocks, or you can walk fingertips towards you, extending your right leg. Making lots of space for baby to the inner thigh. Inhaling, opening through the chest. And this time, let's reach the arms high, taking a few deep breaths. Grounding down through the feet. And then hands come to the blocks, and let's take a step back into our tabletop position. Hands come to the earth, circling the hips in both directions. Really connecting to your breath. And then inhale, table step your left foot forward and really stacking the knee and ankle in one line. If you'd like to use your blocks, it'd be really nice to just place the hands on the block and focus on breath. Or we can come into our high lunge, inhaling into any space where you feel that you need support. And as you exhale, rooting, softening, grounding through the foundation of this pose. And so exhaling, hands come to the blocks, and either keeping them here, or if you'd like to, you can extend the leg or walk the hands towards you for support. Inhaling, coming into our lunge, reaching fingertips high, opening through the chest. Exhaling, hands come to the blocks, and stretching the hamstring, warming up the body. And last time, inhaling into our lunge position. Exhaling, extending your leg. Inhaling into our lunge, reaching fingertips towards the sky. And exhaling, palms come to the earth, stepping back into our tabletop position. And so from our tabletop, we can explore a little bit of side opening of the body. And so inhaling into center, exhaling, looking over one shoulder. Inhaling to center, exhaling, opposite side. And if you'd like to, as you look over your shoulder, maybe even pressing back through that heel, releasing tension in through the calf. Inhaling to center, exhaling, stretching it out. Inhaling to center, and either continuing with this movement, or if you'd like to, you can press back into your downward dog if that's still in your practice. And so if you'd like to, you can slip that blanket underneath your heels, walking your heels up and down. Long, deep breathing. And then stepping from table over downward dog, your right foot forward. Invitation to keep the knee to the floor, or if you'd like to, you can extend the leg, bringing the knee straight off the floor. And so let's inhale, reaching fingertips, coming into Anjaneyasana, opening through the chest. And exhaling, palms come to the earth, stepping back through your tabletop position or downward facing dog. Left foot comes forward to the outside of your left hand. And either keeping your knee to the floor or stretching your right leg straight. Inhaling, swooping fingertips, sweeping them up towards the ceiling. Long, deep breath. Feeling strength in this pose. And exhaling, hands come to the earth. Let's come into downward dog or tabletop position. And then lowering down onto your mat. We'll stretch out the wrists. And so circling the wrists in both directions. And we'll extend the right arm, pressing the palm away from you. And then changing sides. Stretching the left palm forward. Long, deep breath. Often in pregnancy, you can get a lot of pain in through the wrists, sometimes carpal tunnel. So this is a really great series that you can do at home. And let's roll out the wrists in both directions. And shake it all out. Great. So from our hands and knees position, let's take a moment to roll up. We'll come through a squat this time. So coming to the end of your mat, if you'd like to, you can sit on a block, maybe on a folded blanket. Bringing your palms together at the heart and taking a few deep breaths here. Hands come to the earth and lift your hips, keeping knees bent, bringing your forearms to your thighs. And then rooting down through the feet to roll up to standing. Taking your time to get there. Shoulders come back. Inhale, raising your arms. And exhaling, palms come to the heart. Beautiful. So removing any props from your mat, but keeping handy any blocks that you would like to use for your lunges. So we'll do a little bit of spinal warm-ups to begin. So palms come together and then bringing the feet so that they're at least pelvis width apart. Inhale, raising your arms towards the sky. Exhaling, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthening your spine. Exhale, fold. And we'll try this a few times. If being upside down doesn't feel very good to you today, feel free to come up halfway instead of coming all the way forward. So listening to your body and adjusting. It can be nice to just bring your hands to your blocks instead of folding. And so we inhale, halfway lift, and exhale to release. Rooting down through the feet, rolling your spine up, and then palms come together at the heart. So let's walk forward towards the front edge of the mat. Inhaling, raising your arms, and exhale to swan dive. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthening your spine, and exhaling to fold. Take a step back into table or downward facing dog. From here, exhaling into our tabletop position and inhaling into cow. Exhaling into cat. Inhaling into our cow pose. Exhaling into our cat. And then let's come into table, curling the toes underneath, and either walking the feet towards the hands, or if you'd like to, we can take a moment to pause here, coming through our table, and from table into high squat. And so finding your own variation, walk your feet forward towards the hands, coming into our high squatting position together, rooting down through the feet, and let's roll the spine up. Inhaling, circling the arms back. Exhaling, coming to sit through our high squat. Finding a few times wave squats, spine rolls forward, coming to standing. Inhaling, opening the chest, and exhale, coming to sit back into our squat. Last time. Coming to standing in Tadasana, arms roll back. Inhaling, reaching. Exhaling, palms come to the heart. With your next inhalation, reaching the arms high. Exhale, halfway fold. If you'd like to, you can come into all the way fold, listening to your body. Inhale, halfway rise. Exhale to release. And then stepping back into our downward dog or tabletop position. Exhaling into our table. Inhaling into our cow pose. Exhaling into cat. And finding a few repetitions here. Long, deep breath. Inhaling into our tabletop position. And then either finding our downward dog, or if you'd like to, you can walk your hands towards you, coming into a low squat. If you're in a downward dog position, I invite you to walk your feet up to your hands with feet wide apart. If you're in your squat, hands come to the earth, lift your hips, coming into your high squat position. Rooting down through the feet, inhale, rise up. And exhaling, palms come to the heart, come to the top of your mat. So let's place one hand over the belly and one hand over the heart. Taking a moment to deepen the breath. Finding a long, deep breath here. And so we'll do one more mini vinyasa as part of this series. And so hands come together at the heart. Inhale, raise your arms, feet are wide. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthening the spine. And exhale to release the hands to the earth, stepping back through our downward facing dog or tabletop position. From downward facing dog, lower your knees to the earth, and we'll walk the hands to the lower back as we rise into our camel pose. Lengthening the tailbone slightly under as we shift the hips over the knees. Roll the shoulders open, lifting from the heart, looking up slightly. And then let's exhale, palms come to the earth. Bring your knees nice and wide, sitting back to the heels. And either coming to rest on the forearms or walk your forearms forward, coming into child's pose. Making lots of space for breath, lots of space for baby. Inviting your breath to deepen. And when you're ready, coming into downward dog position or into your tabletop. Let's take a step forward with the right foot to the outside of the right hands. If you're using your blocks, you can place your hands on your blocks. And then either staying here in our lunge pose, or if you'd like to curl your toes under, coming into Asana. And then exhaling, hands come to your blocks and coming through your tabletop position or downward facing dog, listening to your body. With your next breath, let's take a step forward with the left foot to the outside of the left hand. And either staying here in your lunge position, or if you'd like to, curling the toes of your right foot under, extending your right leg, and sweeping fingertips up into Anjaneyasana. Exhaling, palms come to the floor. And let's take a step back into our downward dog or tabletop position. Can move our blocks to the side. Inhaling into our cow pose. Exhaling into cat. Inhaling into cow. Exhaling into cat. Good. And then curling toes under. Walk your hands towards you, coming into our squat. Opening through the heart. Long deep breath. And then hands come to the earth, lifting the hips into our high squat position. And then slowly, slowly coming into standing with your exhalation, ending in Tadasana. Returning to the intention that you came with today on the mat. That intention into your practice a little bit more. So coming to the front edge of our mat, let's take our 2 blocks again, placing them on a high height. For warrior 1, feet are hip width apart, hands come to the hips, and bend your right knee as you step back. Left knee is bent over the ankle, and then we can square the hips, drawing the left hip crease back. If this feels like it's not as stable as you'd like it to be, you can walk the right foot towards the outer edge so that your feet are wider than a heel-to-heel alignment. And so from here, reach your fingertips up, drawing the shoulder blades down, feeling that broad base of support through the feet. So really focusing on the foundation. And then from that place of stability, we can lengthen from the crown of the head. And so hands come to the heart, taking a pause here, and then place your hands on your hips, draw your left hip crease back, and placing the blocks beneath your hands for pyramid pose. So we want to make sure that the belly comes to the inside of the left thigh. Long deep breath here. And then bend the front knee, sweeping your fingers towards the sky. Hands come to the hips and take a step forward towards the front of your mat. So rooting down through both feet and taking a moment to notice the difference between the right side and left side. How do you feel in your feet? Is there one that feels more grounded than the other? And then we bend the knees and step back with the left foot, finding a stable base of support. And if you need to, you can walk your left foot a little bit wider to feel more stability in through the feet. And so later on in pregnancy, it can really help to have more space between the feet. And so inhale as we swoop fingertips up towards the sky, and making sure that there's lots of space for baby and breath here. And so making sure that the stance isn't too long and that we maintain a long deep breath. And so hands come to the hips, and we can draw the right hip crease back as we fold forward, bringing your hands to your blocks, making sure that baby comes to the inside of your right thigh and that there's lots of space for breath. This is a great posture for strengthening the hips and also stretching the hamstrings. And so bringing your attention to finding release there. And so bending the knee, let's take a deep breath in as we reach fingertips up. Exhaling, palms come to the heart, hands come to hips, shifting your center of gravity over the right foot to come to stand in Tadasana at the front of your mat. And so let's remove the blocks and place them to the side. Coming to stand to the side edge of your mat, with feet about one leg lengths apart, and you can test it out. And so coming into our high squat position and finding an alignment that feels most stable to you. So you can shift the feet walk them in closer, further apart until you feel comfortable in this pose. And we'll begin a little bit of rocking the baby. And so we can imagine that the baby is in a hammock, bringing the baby forward and back, finding that pelvic tilting in this pose. And so let's press into the feet. Inhale, reach the arms wide. Exhaling, palms come together, bend the knees, track the knees towards second and third toe. And so deep breath in. Exhale, release. And now left forearm comes to left thigh, reach your right arm overhead. Inhaling as we come through the center line. Exhaling, bend your knees. Right forearm comes to right thigh, reaching overhead, deep breath into the left side ribs. And then let's come through center. Imagine you're holding a big ball of energy, everyone. So we're gonna scoop the energy up through the hands and then circle the arms down. So scooping the energy through and lift it above your head. Exhale, release down. Palms come together at the heart, heel toe your feet back in. And then standing in Tadasana, coming to the front edge of your mat. And I invite you to take a block and to have a block handy for this. And so finding our warrior two position, you can bend the knees, step back with the right foot, and then walk the right foot towards the side edge of your mat. Doesn't matter how long the stance is, it could be very short. And then inhaling, left fingertips forward, right back. Long, deep breath. It can really help to widen the feet. You can step the right foot towards the edge of your mat a little bit more to find more stability in this pose. And then lifting left fingertips, inhale. Exhale, you can bring left forearm to left thigh and right arm to the right side ear. Another option is to place your hand on your block. And so finding whatever orientation feels good for you. Of course, listening to your body. Deep breath in, coming into our warrior two, lifting left fingertips. And let's try that again. Left forearm comes to left thigh or to your block, reaching the right arm overhead. Spiraling the heart, really finding the rotation in through the thoracic spine. And then we're going to root to rise. Take a deep breath in. Exhale to come up. And then palms come together at the heart as we shift the center of gravity over the left foot and come to standing in Tadasana. And so finding your block and coming to stand the front of your mat. Rooting down through the right foot, bend your knees and step the left foot back, coming into warrior two. You can really explore the foundation, maybe even walking the feet a little bit wider apart. We'll see how that feels. Inhaling, coming into your warrior two position. Long, deep breath. And then side bending, side angle pose. Bringing right forearm to thigh, reaching overhead. Long, deep breath. If you'd like to, you can come onto your block, placing the block to the inner foot and exploring rotation in through the thoracic spine. So whatever feels good to you today, listening to your body. So inhale, let's come into our warrior two. And then raising the right arm up, finding length in the right side body, that reminder as we come one last time through our side angle pose. Long, deep breathing, feel the stability in through the feet, your inner strength, and your body supporting you. Inhaling into our warrior two position, and then shifting your center of gravity into the right foot, coming to stand in Tadasana. So taking a moment to shake out your legs and moving your props over to the side. Feet are pelvis width apart. or even just a little bit wider, and making circles with the hips. And so I invite you to find your strap, and with your strap, if there's a loop, we can undo it for this. Taking hold of your strap at about 1 arm's length. Finding your Tadasana with feet beneath the hips, and let's inhale to open through the chest, and exhale to release the arms down. And so long, deep breath, opening through the chest. Beautiful. And exhaling, releasing the arms down. And this time, let's inhale, swooping the arms up, bend your elbow, and taking hold of the strap behind your back. If you can, maybe reaching your fingertips to touch. This is a really great way to open any tension through the chest. Change sides, taking hold of your strap with the other hand, and then inching your right hand up the strap, giving yourself a little bit of space through the shoulders and chest, and inviting a long, deep breath into the ribs and chest. And so let's release the strap and moving the strap to the side. We'll circle the shoulders. So bringing the feet wide, inhaling, arms come up, exhaling to release them down. So long, deep breath. And one last time, releasing your shoulders. And then shoulders come up to the ears, squeeze them as much as you can. And exhale, release it, great. So let's come to the wall for tree pose. Bringing your left hip towards the wall, root down through the left foot, and then placing the right foot to the inner ankle, maybe the inner calf. If you'd like to, you can place your foot into the inner thigh. And the right hand can come to the heart, and resting your gaze on something that's stable and isn't moving. So we can press the foot into the thigh into the foot to find that counter pressure. And then if you'd like to explore your center of gravity, maybe it feels comfortable to bring both hands together. So long, deep breathing. And then let's release the hands. Changing sides, foot comes to the floor. And then bringing your right hip towards the wall, giving yourself a little space. Rooting down through your right foot, and then placing your foot wherever it's comfortable, maybe the inner ankle, the inner calf, perhaps even the inner thigh. Left hand comes to the heart, and finding your stable gaze, resting your gaze on something that isn't moving to really hone in your concentration. And so in pregnancy, the pelvis is shifting so much every week, and so it can be really helpful to bring awareness to your center of gravity and just how much it's changed since last time you've been in this pose. And so palms come together if you'd like to explore a little further. And then exhale, let's release the hands and releasing the foot, coming to bring your back up against the wall for chair pose. And so if you have a Pilates, small Pilates ball or a block, this is a very heavy block. If you have a foam block, it can be really nice to work with. You can bring the pelvis to the wall and then bring your block to the inner thighs and then draw the thighs together. And so hands can come to the belly and think about drawing the hip bones in towards each other and very gently towards the spine. So you don't want to push the belly out. You want to feel really the support of the legs and the core here. And so hands can come to belly, or if you'd like to, hands can come to the chest. If you'd like more of a challenge today, you can even reach your arms by your ears. And so long, deep breath into the belly. And as you exhale, really grounding down through the feet, feeling that support of the abdominal muscles, of your inner thigh muscles supporting you in this pose. And so this is a great pose for developing endurance and strength in through our lower bodies. And so last deep breath here, feeling the power of your body. And we can take the block and move the block over to the side. And so let's shake out the legs from side to side, maybe making some figure eights with the hips. And then rooting down through the feet. Inhale, raise your arms up, interlace your fingers, and press the hands up towards the ceiling. You can lengthen over towards the right side. Give yourself a little space in through the left side body. Inhaling, coming to center. Exhaling to the other side. Deep breath in and out to the right. And last time, inhaling to center and exhaling over towards the left. Let's take a deep breath. Coming to center, bring both palms over your heart. And then rooting down through the feet, lengthen your spine and give yourself a gentle twist over towards your right side. Deep in breath, coming to center. Exhaling, gently twisting towards the left. Inhaling, coming to center, and exhale to release. We're going to come into a wide-legged forward fold. If you'd like to use your blocks for support, you can place your blocks just in front of you. If you're not doing inversions at this stage in your pregnancy, you can just rest the hands on the blocks. And so step your feet wide apart, bringing the toes slightly in. And shift the hips back and bringing your hands to meet your blocks. If you're still practicing inversions in your practice at this time, you can come into a forward fold, maybe bringing the hands to the earth or holding the outer edges of your feet. And so long deep breath, sending the sit bones away from the crown, turning the thigh bones in, and inviting long deep breath into the sides, the back of the rib cage. And so last deep breath here. Hands come to your hips. Inhale, halfway rise. And then exhale, pressing through the feet to come all the way up to standing. And then we'll take one block with us over to the wall. Bringing your hands to the wall and lowering yourself down onto your block. Great. And so palms come together at the heart, opening through the chest, and inviting long deep breaths all the way down to your pelvis. With every exhalation, you can soften a little bit more, softening the jaw, softening the breath, softening the body. To release from this pose, we'll bring the hands to the earth, lifting the hips and removing the block. If you have any props nearby, we're going to move them out of the way and bring with you just one bolster. The bolster will just come to the side in case you would like to use it for legs up the wall. And we'll come to sit on the mat, bringing your right hip towards the wall and coming onto your left side. And so from this position, I invite you to roll onto your back. If it's comfortable for you to rest on your back, you can continue in this way. If you would like a little bit more support, I invite you to bring your bolster with you and to slide your bolster beneath your pelvis. The way we can do that is by bending the knees, lifting the hips, and then sliding the bolster beneath. So sometimes this can make this pose a little bit more comfortable. To come out of this pose, the way that we do this is we bend the knees, lift the hips, and then slide any cushions from beneath you, rolling over onto your left side and coming out of the pose. So I invite you to find legs up the wall. If legs up the wall isn't comfortable to you at this time, you can come into a supported fish position and drape your legs over the seat of a chair. This can be nice as well. And so once you are comfy in the pose, you can place your hands to the earth or maybe to the belly, taking a few deep breaths there. And so this pose is a really powerful way to reset the nervous system and to invite an element of rest into our practice, into our day. It's also a posture that you can practice at home at any time to decrease swelling in your ankles and feet. And so at any time when you're in this pose, if you feel uncomfortable, I invite you to come out of the pose at any time. Great, and so whenever you feel ready to shift into a different shape, I invite you to bend your knees, remove any bolster from beneath your pelvis, and to roll over onto your side. And come into a comfortable seat. And so the next one is deer pose, and it can be really nice to have the support of the wall beside you. And so here we come to sit with the left hip towards the wall, bringing your fingers to the wall, fingertips resting on the wall. And then opening through the spine as you exhale, gently twisting towards your left. Long, deep breath. To come out of the pose, you can bring the hands to the earth and shifting the feet, releasing the knees over towards the right, and then walking the left leg back. So take a moment to adjust your position, and once you feel settled, you can bring the fingertips to the wall, twisting towards the right side. And then slowly releasing from the pose. Great. And so let's come with our back up against the wall and feet together, knees apart. Opening through the front body. Long, deep breath. And invite your sit bones. You can bring your attention to the sit bones, rooting down into the earth, softening the creases of the hips. And taking a few mindful breaths here. Sending the breath down to the pelvis. You can imagine the pelvic floor, that diamond shape muscle. We can imagine it relaxing upon the inhalation. So extending your right leg and bringing your left foot to the inner thigh. And here, place your right hand to the earth for the right side. Inhaling, raising your left arm. Exhaling, lengthening over towards your right side. So long, deep breath here. If it's accessible to you and you'd like to bring your fingers to wrap around big toe, you can. But it's not necessary to go that far today. Just really emphasizing the breath into the left side of your body. And so let's bring hands forward. Imagine the whole pelvis tilting forward, hinging from the hips. Bringing the forearms to the floor if that's accessible, or simply bringing hands to the earth. And then we'll change sides. So left hand comes to the left sit bone. And let's take a deep breath in, coming onto the shins, reaching from fingertips. Give yourself a nice stretch. And exhale to release the pelvis down. So right foot comes in, left foot comes out. And then taking a moment to set up your pose, the left hand comes to the earth. And we can inhale, raise the right arm. So not necessary to go any further than this, but you can if you'd like to. As we exhale, we can continue to lengthen the sides of the body. This is a really great pose for stretching the hamstrings and also lengthening, deepening the breath. And so making sure that we're not overstretching. The body's releasing a lot of relaxin, which makes our body very, very flexible sometimes. And so really respecting and listening to the body. And so let's take a deep breath in. Inhale to rise, and then hands come to the earth. And bringing your fingers to the pelvis, reminding yourself to hinge forward here from the hips. So we're going to bring the whole pelvis forward with us on this stretch. And then right hand comes to the right side pelvis, preparing for a modified gate pose, coming on to the shins. Inhaling, rolling the heart open. Exhaling, grounding down through the feet. So long, deep breath here. Beautiful. And exhale to release down to your mat. Great. And so we'll do a little bit of floor work before ending our class today. And I invite you to bring your bolster now to the top of your mat. And if you'd like to use a block for bridge pose, you're welcome to bring a block with you as well. Great. And so let's come onto our backs. Feet are hip width apart, and then rolling down onto your mat. Hands come to the floor. Pressing down through the feet. Feet are at least pelvis width apart. And then as we ground, we can lengthen the lower back, lifting the hips, rolling the spine off your mat, and exhaling, lowering down. We'll try that a few times. Rooting down through the feet, scooping the pelvis under, lifting the hips, and exhaling, rolling the spine down. And then following your own breath. With your next breath, let's roll the spine to the earth. And if you have a block handy and you'd like to use it, we can place the block beneath the pelvis, lifting the hips, and placing the block on its lower height or maybe the medium height, taking a few deep breaths into the front of the hip flexors. Hip flexors can be so tight during pregnancy, so we invite some space and softening there. Invite your lower back to soften, the lumbar spine to elongate and soften. Invite the breath to soften. Come out of this pose, press into your feet, lift your pelvis, and remove your block from beneath you. And taking the knees to the hands and making large circles with your knees, releasing any tension that you have in through the hips. Feet come to the earth, and bringing your left ankle to meet your thigh, squaring the hips and hugging the right knee towards your right shoulder. Make sure the shoulders are resting down on the mat, lengthening the back of your neck. Exhale to release. Let's change sides. The right ankle comes to the left thigh and hugging the left knee towards your left shoulder. Inviting a long deep breath here, squaring the hips. And so this is a great stretch for deep hip muscles. Practice this stretch throughout our day to make sure that the hips are healthy. And so let's release the feet to the floor. Bringing your arms into a T position for Windshield Wipers, looking over opposite shoulders. And then coming to center, bring your right knee towards your right shoulder and extend your left leg straight. So as we practice this pose, I invite you to really listen in and to not overstretch for any reason in this pose. The left hand comes to the left hip. This will be our last pose for today. And we can either stay here, or if you'd like to, take hold of your right big toe and you can explore the space in the hamstrings by extending the right leg. And so long, deep breath, and really grounding the pelvis in this pose. You can take a deep breath in, exhale, releasing your right foot to the ground and changing sides. Left knee comes to the left shoulder, extending your right leg straight. And so place your right hand over your right hip as a reminder to root down on both sides of the pelvis evenly. And you can either stay and work with this pose, or if you'd like to explore your hamstrings a little further, you can take hold of your right big toe and extend your left leg straight. And so invite a long deep breath. Really rooting down through both sides of the pelvis evenly. Pose, release your left foot to the floor, bringing both knees to the ground, and making any final adjustments you'd like to make before our final relaxation pose. We'll turn over onto your left side, and taking your block and your bolster handy. If you have two bolsters and you'd like to use a bolster as a pillow, you're welcome to do that as well. Okay, so we'll have one blanket for our side lying Shavasana, and this blanket will go on the side of your torso. And so we'll go ahead and place that blanket there. And then one block or cushion for under the head, and one bolster for underneath your top leg. And so let's come to place the blanket underneath the left side of your body to really support the space on the side of the waist. And then you can rest your head on your block, or if you'd like to, on your cushion. We'll straighten the bottom leg and drape the top leg over the bolster, and resting your right hand to the earth. So taking a few moments of integration before we end our practice today. And so sometimes the different parts of us need to catch up with one another. The mind, the heart, the body, all of the changes that are taking place. Invite relaxation from the tips of the toes to the crown of the head, scanning the body for tension and inviting more relaxation there, inviting our body to soften, to release with every deep breath. Becoming aware of any tension in through the sides of the body, and we soften the body to receive more breath. Notice if there's anything that you're holding on to from your day and letting that go into your mat. You can notice any part of our body that is in contact with the earth. And we invite more relaxation, more grounding, as though the earth was holding you, letting go of any effort, and feeling completely supported by the earth beneath your body. Shifting your awareness to your baby and your womb. Imagining them receiving this deep breath, this healing breath. Knowing that when you fully relax, that your baby receives all of the same hormones for relaxation. Sending healing benefits of our practice to your baby in your womb. Now shifting your focus to your breath. Can we allow the breath to relax, to soften? We invite more fluidity, as though the breath is breathing itself. Imagining the prana, the healing energy of the breath, filling all of the spaces, all of the cells of your body with life force energy, with healing energy. And then inviting your breath to deepen once more, wiggling your fingers and your toes. And when you feel ready, helping yourself up into a comfortable seated position on your mat. So placing your hands like a beautiful lotus flower at the heart, bringing the little fingers together to touch, the thumbs together, resting on the heart space. Like a beautiful symbol of transformation. You can imagine all of the ways that we are blooming, transforming, ways that we're growing and that our babies are growing. And so taking a few short moments to meditate on the breath, on this beautiful symbol connecting to it in any way that feels meaningful to you. Your hands, rubbing your hands together, feeling the energy between the palms and placing the hands over your eyes. May your practice create peace in your mind. Removing your hands, rubbing them together, creating heat in between the palms, and once you feel the heat in between the hands, you can bring them a little bit further apart. Placing the hands over your heart. May your practice create peace in your heart. Removing the palms and rubbing them together. And placing your hands over your womb. Sending that peace and loving energy down to your womb space, to your baby. And then we can rub the palms together. And imagining that we're sending energy to all new parents. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Wishing them peace. Wishing them well-being. And sending them these well wishes, imagining them receiving your blessings. And so hands come together at the heart and bowing to honor yourself.